Every year, McKinsey & Company publishes one of the most closely watched technology reports in the world, a deep look into the breakthroughs that will define business, productivity, and global competition in the decade ahead. The 2025 edition of McKinsey's Technology Trends Outlook makes one thing clear: we've moved beyond digital transformation. We're now entering the era of technological acceleration, where every sector, from finance to manufacturing to healthcare, is being rewritten by data, automation, and artificial intelligence. These aren't future predictions, these are current trajectories, already reshaping how the U.S. economy grows, invests, and competes. Let's unpack McKinsey's biggest takeaways and what they mean for the businesses driving America's next growth chapter. 1. The era of AI everywhere has arrived. McKinsey's 2025 report says what many already suspect: AI is no longer an experiment, it's infrastructure. Over 70% of major U.S. firms are now integrating AI into at least one core business process. That's up from just 20% 5 years ago. But here's the real story. AI's biggest impact isn't in replacing workers, it's in amplifying decisions. From logistics to law, companies are using AI co-pilots to enhance everything from inventory management to contract analysis. According to McKinsey, this AI enablement could unlock $25 to $40 trillion in global economic value by 2035, and the U.S., with its capital depth and innovation ecosystem, stands to capture the lion's share. AI has moved from a competitive advantage to a competitive necessity. 2. Generative AI and the rise of synthetic work. Generative AI, tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Anthropic's Claude, are ushering in what McKinsey calls the synthetic work revolution. Synthetic work means tasks once done manually, writing, designing, coding, analyzing, are now being generated by machines. But it's not about replacement, it's about scale. A single analyst can now process what once required an entire team. A single designer can create product concepts in minutes instead of weeks. McKinsey predicts that by 2030, up to 30% of all tasks in white-collar sectors will be automated. But companies that pair human judgment with machine creation will see 2 times productivity growth over competitors. This shift doesn't shrink work, it redefines it. 3. Compute power becomes the new currency. McKinsey identifies computing infrastructure, from GPUs to quantum processors, as the bottleneck and backbone of global innovation. The report calls this the new industrial supply chain. AI, robotics, and simulations all depend on access to high-performance compute (HPC). Without it, innovation stalls. That's why companies like NVIDIA, Broadcom, and CoreWeave are now as strategically vital as oil producers were a century ago. By 2030, McKinsey projects that compute demand will grow 50 times compared to 2023, with U.S. firms leading the build-out of data centers, semiconductors, and edge networks. In short, whoever controls compute capacity controls progress. 4. The next energy frontier: electrified, decarbonized, and digital. Another major insight from McKinsey: energy and technology are merging into a single ecosystem. AI and automation are driving massive power demands, while sustainability goals push companies toward clean, efficient alternatives. The result? A new wave of innovation in digital energy infrastructure. We're talking about smart grids that balance renewable inputs in real time, AI-managed power routing, and battery systems that think about efficiency. In the U.S., this is being supercharged by government incentives from the Inflation Reduction Act, leading to what McKinsey calls the electrification economy. Tech companies that solve power efficiency, from chip design to data center cooling, will dominate the next decade of energy innovation. 5. Bioengineering and the convergence of biology plus technology. McKinsey's report highlights a quiet revolution, one happening not in software but in cells. The lines between biotechnology and information technology are blurring. AI models are now being trained on genetic data to predict protein structures, simulate drug trials, and accelerate medical discovery. McKinsey calls this convergence the biodigital frontier. By 2030, over 60% of global R&D in healthcare and materials will rely on computational biology, a field where the U.S. currently leads thanks to its biotech clusters in Boston, San Diego, and the Bay Area. In simple terms, biology is becoming programmable, and that's about to transform everything from pharmaceuticals to agriculture. 6. Quantum computing crosses the commercial threshold. Quantum has been hyped for decades, but McKinsey says 2025 marks a real inflection point. Several quantum startups have moved from research to early enterprise use, offering quantum as a service for specialized tasks like logistics optimization and drug molecule simulation. McKinsey estimates that by 2030, early quantum adopters could see operational advantages of 10 to 20% in specific verticals such as finance, energy, and supply chain management. For U.S. companies, the message is clear: start experimenting now. Quantum fluency will soon separate innovators from laggards, just like cloud computing did in the 2000s. 7. Human capital in the age of machines. Technology alone doesn't create growth, people do. McKinsey's 2025 report puts heavy emphasis on talent transformation, retraining, upskilling, and adapting human workers to thrive alongside automation. In the U.S., over 40% of workers will need significant reskilling by 2030 to keep pace with emerging technologies. The companies investing most aggressively in digital literacy, from Amazon's machine learning university to Walmart's AI training programs, are building what McKinsey calls cognitive resilience. In an economy where machines can learn, the human advantage becomes adaptability. 8. The end of the tech industry and the birth of the tech economy. Here's one of McKinsey's boldest claims: there will soon be no such thing as a tech company, because by 2030, every company will be a tech company. AI, automation, cloud, and data infrastructure are no longer optional add-ons. They are the foundations of every competitive business model. Manufacturers are building predictive systems. Banks are running AI compliance engines. Retailers are building data pipelines as powerful as any software startup. Technology isn't a sector anymore, it's the economy itself. And the businesses that understand that shift, that invest in becoming technology native, will be the ones defining the next generation of American leadership. The big picture, a decade of exponential readiness. McKinsey's message for business leaders is simple: the next decade won't reward size or even speed. It will reward readiness. Readiness to adopt new tools, readiness to retrain workers, readiness to rethink industries from the ground up. Technology is accelerating faster than traditional planning cycles can handle. That means companies need to move from 5-year roadmaps to continuous reinvention. The ones that can learn, adapt, and deploy faster than the competition will win. The takeaway: McKinsey's 2025 Tech Outlook paints a future defined by fusion of biology and data, energy and intelligence, humans and machines. AI is the engine, compute is the fuel, and adaptability is the driver. For U.S. businesses, this isn't just an evolution, it's a race, not to predict the future, but to build it. Because the next wave of global growth won't come from waiting for technology to mature. It'll come from those bold enough to use it early, scale it fast, and make it real.